Hi guys, Kelly here from Body Fit Solutions, doing an intermediate advanced Pilates class. This is really about trying to release tension in our upper body, because that's what I'm feeling today. I'm feeling very tight all over, and maybe the anxiety of what's going on is kind of coming into my body and probably yours. So we're just going to do a little bit of an all over mobilizing workout and just see where it goes. So I'd like to start with a lacrosse ball. And we're gonna try and explore some tension spots kind of in the upper body. Now I'm feeling particularly this morning in my shoulder blade area. So I want you to take it, you have a tennis ball or one of those spiky massage balls, just be careful because it might be a little bit angry. You could use the Franklin ball, but ideally if you have something harder, you're just gonna place the ball on the wall, right at the bottom of the shoulder blades, and just kind of nuzzle in and I found the knot right away. I knew exactly where it was. Okay, so off the side of the spine, okay, into the tissue between your shoulder blades. And then sometimes if it feels okay, I like that arm, so I'm on my left side. I like the arm to come across just gently and then breathe into that rib cage. So nice big deep breath in, and I'm kind of expanding the rib cage into the ball. I'm just trying to open up that space a little bit more. If it's too much with the arm, that's totally fine, just let it hang down. So hopefully you've got enough room in your living room or conservatory or behind the door in your room to be able to do this. Or you could lie down, okay? You could lie down with the spiky ball or the hard ball and just have a good little rummage. Now, if you find that that area loosens off, then you can just slowly kind of squat down and move the ball up that shoulder blade. So I'm just being really instinctive. It's feeling like down at the bottom is where it needs it the most. So just a few more breaths and finding the spots that feel the most tender. It's just starting to let go a little bit now. Good. Feel free to stay there a little bit longer if you feel you need to. And let's go to the other side. Okay, so start at the bottom of the shoulder blade, and I can feel already that's not nearly as bad. For whatever reason, I might have slept funny, but as I come up the shoulder blade, I can feel a little bit more on that side. So and breathe. So whether you want the arm across and to open up the intercostals a little bit. Okay, so you've got the little muscles between your ribs that actually get very tight, and especially if we're really anxious and stressed, we tend to hold the tension kind of up in the neck. So you'll find kind of the whole shoulder neck area will just be feeling like out of sorts. Okay, a few more breaths, move it up the shoulder blade if you feel you need to. Ooh, there's a nice little spot at the top there. And just take time for this hour to just focus on you and the body and nothing else that's going on in your mind. I think that's really important right now. Okay, good. Now I want to just do a little bit of getting our posture against the wall. So if you do have a little space, I would suggest if you don't have a space actually in your living room or conservatory that you just close the door or go to another room. You can still hear me. And I just want you to, I'm just going to go off to the side here. I want you to tuck your pelvis and get your sacrum against the wall. So my knees are bent, my feet are a little bit away from the wall. I'm going to try and get my sacrum, the back of the pelvis, to be really wide on the wall. And then I'm going to peel up the low back and try and really get the whole of the low back to touch the wall. And I'm actually trying to go upwardly as I try and get this way. So I'm trying to traction and feel a little bit more space. Okay, so now I'm at my kind of lower shoulder blades where we were just releasing. And then I want to try and get the upper back. Now the upper back is quite hard. The shoulder blades you want to kind of pinch back, but I don't want you to allow that. So maybe have the arms forward and just see if you can guide very slowly your upper back to the mat. Okay, you might not get there, and just be really mindful not to just throw back your head. So your head might not actually touch the wall. I'm getting to about my Upper back, yeah, that's about it. Maybe like the mid-thoracic, and then it's not wanting to move anymore. And then just release off of there, okay? So we're gonna nuzzle the lower back, the sacrum, so the sacrum nice and wide. Your bum might need to tuck under, you might need to be a little bit more 12. And then get the lower back to nuzzle up. You can see I'm trying to kind of wiggle my ribs up a little bit. And then as I get to the upper back, I'm resisting pulling back my shoulders. That's what my body wants to do. So I'm going to keep my shoulders in front and see if my spine can slowly come up. And actually the ribs kind of going wider. The shoulders might elevate a little bit. That's a bit better. When my shoulders actually come up a little bit, I can get more of my spine. Now my upper back is a little bit more on the mat, on the wall. My shoulders feel quite broad, but they feel flat, so they don't feel like they're pinching into the wall. And then my head can elongate and come to the wall. So hopefully that was maybe a little bit better. If not, don't worry, just go where you can. Let's just do one more. So nuzzle that low back, that sacrum. Now I want you to make sure that when you go into each section, you don't take the next section away. So as I go into the low back, I want to keep the sacrum there. And then once I go into the upper back, I don't want to lose the low back or the sacrum. Okay, so it's very easy when the upper back comes up that actually the low back starts peeling away. Okay, so I'm nuzzling up the wall, widening out, and feeling broad through the shoulders, arms out in front, and then lengthening up through the head. We're just doing a standing traction. Ugh. And then release it off. So we'll check in with that at the end and see if that feels any better. So a few options for this. You can either use the roller, the lats, or if you're feeling very brave this morning, then you can take the lacrosse ball underneath the lats. But let's just do, I think the roller will feel a little bit more nurturing today. Okay, so we're going to place the roller just underneath the armpit, kind of into the intercostals. And then you can decide how you lay the head if you want to lay it. That doesn't feel very nice for me, so I'm just going to go here. And breathing into that rib cage and just rolling gently forward and back. So just finding if it feels tender under there. And remember our lymph nodes are kind of under our armpit, so let's just be careful not to touch there. So we're a little bit below the armpit into the rib cage, and you'll just feel the edge of your shoulder blade as you go backwards. So just feeling, it's feeling very, very, very tender for me. So just rolling forward and back. Now we're just going to add a little gentle rotation. So just want to take the hand behind the head. Be very careful though that the elbow isn't flapping all over. I'm just going to bend the knees a little bit more. So really gentle rotation. I want to try not to turn my head too much. I'm just guiding the spine there. And I want the top leg just to go forward a little bit. So I'm just kind of placing it in front a little bit. Okay, I've got to be mindful that my neck doesn't kind of take over. And then as you go forward, can you see I'm floating the leg, and I'm just going to place it behind gently. So I've just got the toe on the ground with the knee slightly higher, so rotating forward. And float it in the air a little bit, and then I like to make contact with that. Okay, lengthening the back of the neck. So try not to just kind of turn and rotate your head. Feel like it's the spine. It's really hard to do that actually. Okay, leg goes forward. If you need that counterbalance, let this leg go forward a little bit more. And then go back. I think all of you have the roller, but if you don't have a foam roller, just try this on the mat. So keep going with that. If you're on the foam roller, I should have shown you that before. So I can just go here and just rotate and then rotate forward. So that's quite nice actually. And if you're finding it's a little bit strong on the roller, then this is quite nice. So just do one more forward and back. Whatever breath serves you. And forward and release. Lovely. And let's check in the other side. I have a feeling this side is going to be a little bit more angry. Okay, so we're just gonna release a little bit, find your head position that feels okay. Yep, got the spot. Okay, and I'm just doing a little bit of forward and back and just finding that little nook of tightness, it's about there. So I might just breathe there and hang out there for a second. And then roll gently forward and back, just whatever feels good. And we'll start to add the leg and the rotation. So hand behind the head, just soften the elbow so we're not kind of flapping it around, or if you want to do the floor. So as you rotate back, the front leg goes forward really, really tight. Then I float in the air a little bit and tap it behind as the upper body goes forward. So inhale, if you want to add breath, just go, passing by that nice little nook there. Maybe not nice. If you find it's too much to add the rotation, just hang out there, just breathe. Okay? So doing it on the floor with the roller, floating, tapping back, rotate. Tapping back, rotate. And let's just do one more of each. This is where it'd be nice to hear your grunts and groans or your oohs and ahs. So have them in spirit for me. And then release. Okay, so you can choose if you want to do the roller, if you've got the squashy ball and you just want a little bit of a nicer surface to do this on. I'm just going to see how this feels for me today. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to allow myself to feel what feels good. So tuck the pelvis under. And I want you to take a big breath into your back. And then exhale, traction. So I'm not really thinking about going over the roller. I'm trying to lengthen the back of the neck and kind of feed my spine kind of that way. Okay, and if I am, so I'm getting a bit stuck there, so I'm going to take another breath. And the body does rise a little bit, and then as I exhale, I'm tractioning. Okay, so I'm trying to feel like my head is going away from the rest of my spine, keeping a little bit of 12, kind of like we did on the wall, okay? So my body rises up as I breathe in, and then exhale. And that's about as much as my spine wants to do. And then I'm just gonna cradle the arms around a little bit, and just bring my body back up. And if you feel like you want to go into a little bit more flexion, just see what feels good. Does your spine kind of want to do this, or does it not feel like don't jam your head, but just to feel the mobility of the upper back. You might even want to just reach for your knees. Okay, feel free to use the soft ball if you prefer. So let's do it again. Inhale and exhale. And you might play with your leg position. Sometimes opening the legs. My spine doesn't like that today. Okay, might feel good for you. One leg down. So that feels okay. Might try the other leg. That one doesn't feel as nice, so there's obviously a twist a little bit in my pelvis, so I'm just going to stay in the middle. That seems to be the nicest place. And then slowly coming back up. Awesome. So I think what I'd like to do, if we all have a roller, and again, if you don't have a roller, you can do this with the softball, or actually just roll up a towel and place it underneath your pelvis. So kind of a thick towel rolled up, or even another mat. If you roll up like a yoga mat, that works really well underneath the pelvis. So I'm going to pop the roller underneath. Okay, be careful as you get it under there because it might feel quite high and aggressive today. But I just want to hang out here for a moment. I can feel my sacrum is almost like quite narrow and tight, so I just want to let it melt out to the side, so into my hips. Spreading out. I'm just having a moment to let my ribs settle. This is where we hold a lot of anxiety in our gut. So just letting our gut just melt into the floor, into my spine. The low back might be carrying some tension. So just maybe even just brush your low back and just tell it it's okay. And to let it calm down. Just give it a little brush. I'm just letting the back of the neck lengthen, letting the low back soften a little bit more. My pelvis is naturally now starting to tilt a little bit towards my ribs, okay? So if you've got that yoga mat, and even if you were just doing this on the mat and just letting yourself settle into the floor, really, really powerful, and just noticing what's kind of holding on. Okay, let's take one leg into the chest, and not really into the chest, but kind of down into your hip, okay? And then I want to just slowly open up that hip flexor. Noticing I'm not really overstretching the knee. I'm kind of wanting to feel just that release in here. And I just want to rotate the leg inwards. It doesn't really want to go there. It wants to flop out to the side. So I'm going to just roll on the ball of the foot just to rotate in. And now I can feel just a little bit of elastic. It's not super strong, but it feels nice. And then let it drop kind of probably where it wants to. And you can do this on the floor, okay? Just rotating the leg in and out and just feeling where you might be tight. If you're on the floor, you might want to do a little bit more 12. Okay, let's do one more there. So just rotating inwards and release. Good. And change sides. Nice big clunk there. So I don't want to just hang it down, yeah? That feels actually like it's pulling, but in a way that feels like it wants to kind of come back in. So I'm just gonna just tread to kind of the edge of the elastic feeling. So just where I start to feel that stretchy feeling. And then I can't even rotate this, like rotate it in and notice where it flops. So it'll probably flop out to the side a little bit easier. I'm going to rotate the leg bone in and let it flop back out. That's where it wants to be. Rotate in. So you can have just the knee slightly bent and just do a little internal, external rotation. Okay, and just feel that outer edge of the hip and getting a little bit of warmth and opening. Okay, take both legs to tabletop. If you're on the mat, just hold your knees and just do a light little stirring. But here, I just want the arms down by your side. I want you to just do a nice little tiny circle with both legs. So just stirring the legs in the hips, keeping the pelvis heavy on the roller, trying not to let the tail tip down, okay? The weight of the legs is going to pull the tail down. So I want to just keep the ball in the socket. So every time I turn, I'm trying to sink my femurs more into my hips. And then if you can, make it bigger, but don't compromise the pelvis. I can't make it that much bigger. And then I just want to do a little femur arc. Just nice and nurturing. I'm trying to keep my legs really floating like quality. So I'm kind of trying to unmuscle this as much as I can. Okay, I'm really trying to soften the crease at the front of the leg so it's not gripping on. And if I feel something catch, I'm gonna come back, okay? So if you feel in yourself that if the leg is even out here and it's kind of gripping on and holding on, ease it back. Look at how small my femur arcs are. They're not grandiose. Awesome. Oh, it feels really nice. Okay, so let's just guide that roller away and just have a moment to feel the pelvis on the mat. That feels very nice. So I'm thinking a bridge here. And if again you have the roller, this will feel quite nice because we can really articulate into that upper back. But just do this on the floor, works really, really well. So I just want you to lie yourself along the roller, make sure the back of your head is on the roller. And we're just going to go into a bridge. So if you're on the floor, I'd like you to have your arms up. And actually, let's have the arms up here if we can. Okay, so I want my feet a little bit closer to the roller. And I just want to roll the pelvis a little bit, but without squeezing and clenching into the glutes. So just roll into 12. Press through the feet. And see if you can just peel up onto that upper back. Ugh. Okay, so I want to keep the weight in the thoracic spine. Okay, don't want to go straight up into the head. I want to really rest kind of between the shoulder blades. Give your hips a little brush out. and then melt back down along the roller. Yeah, almost just unfold. Feel like you're widening out your spine as you go down, okay? This is the same as if we're on the floor. So rolling the pelvis just enough that it feels in the front of you. Remember those deep abdominals that we've been working on now. I press through the feet. Okay, I'm sending the thighs out, but actually we're almost at the top of the bridge already. So we don't need to work that hard here, but it's gonna feel quite strong. Okay, or a lot of energy through my upper back, but feeling like it's a good energy. If it doesn't feel like a good energy, go down to the floor and just do a nice articulation of the spine. And then I'm laying the spine out wide across the roller. Okay, so I'm not trying to think vertebrae by vertebrae. I'm actually trying to kind of get the flesh of my spine to come out. So hopefully that feels good. Let's just do 2 more. So roll the pelvis. Oh, feels very stiff on my upper back. Might just take the arms overhead, see how that feels, whether you're on the mat or not. That feels quite nice. It's making my bum work a little bit more. Don't know about you. Maybe do a little circle on the way down. So choose your adventure. I wouldn't do the bridge though with the hands here, because that's going to pull the shoulders back. Okay, so I definitely do it here. So articulate, just kind of notice how the sections of the spine are coming off. Okay, really working, brush those hips. If we want to take the arms overhead, feeling one glute more than the other, that's for sure. And circle around all the way to the floor. Oh, very nice. And just roll yourself off. Hopefully that felt nice. That feels nice on my upper back now. If you have a flex band, use this, but again, you don't need to. This is just quite nice for feedback. Okay, so I'm going to put this around the back of the shoulders. So I'm trying to keep it nice and wide. Again, you don't need this, but it's quite nice just to have a little bit of resistance. So come into your split kneeling position, tilt the pelvis up, and then just get the appropriate amount of tension on your band if you have it. And I'm just going to go into protraction, retraction. So one side reaching, one side coming back. And I'm just kind of letting the band kind of glide across my shoulder blades, but obviously not letting them come away from my shoulder blades. Okay, from the side, I'm not letting the arm go too far back. I'm focusing on the protraction. So this side doesn't really want to retract. I can feel it, but it does want to protract. So actually it's feeling nice doing that. So I might want to milk that just a little bit more and maybe ease back on how much I come into retraction on that side. So I might just ease and not do so much. So if you feel a pinching feeling, don't go back so far. Okay, just do 2 more. So reach, so I want to really enjoy that protraction. And make sure if you don't have the band, you're not overreaching into the pecs, okay? That it's coming from the back of you. Yeah, so I want to not go too much on that side. I want to maybe focus on the protraction and my deep abdominals, okay? Change legs. Okay, tilt the pelvis up. Probably our hips feel very tight as well. Okay, and protract, retract. So same thing on this side. My left shoulder blade is just not wanting to go backwards, but it is enjoying the going forward position. Okay, so just be mindful of that, yeah? If my shoulder's going back and it's pinching, then obviously it doesn't want to do that. Okay, we've got to listen to those cues in ourselves. And now you guys are at a level actually where you can start to be a little bit more intuitive and not just take instruction face value to go, actually, that doesn't feel good to pull back on that side. For me, actually, I would probably just go there, come a little bit back to center, and then go there again. That feels very nice for me, and something that my body is obviously wanting to do. So if you're feeling that yourself and one side is wanting more of your energy, just do 1 or 2 more there. And release. Lovely. If you want to keep the band there, it's quite helpful for shoulder girdle position. And then we can just come into quadruped. Okay? And I just want you to tuck the pelvis, but without pushing the band. So a little bit of 12 and back to neutral. You can see it's not a very big movement. 12, we've been working on scooping the belly up. And release back to neutral. Scoop. And back. And a lovely little 12. Now don't lose those abdominals as the pelvis comes back to neutral, and watch the ribs don't collapse. So with the band, you can really kind of feel, and then lengthen through the upper back. And then slowly press one arm into the floor, let the other arm come forward just a little bit. It doesn't even need to go that far, especially if you've got the band, and just notice if you drop out. And also if you push too far up, okay? So I want to see that I can keep my deep belly on and just do a little bit of mini Superman. Okay, try not to shift the weight at all into one side or the other. Remember, if you're doing it without the band, it doesn't need to be a big high reach. I'm not really interested in going super high up. I really just want to stay stable. And then just come back into a shell stretch. And just going a little bit to one side. Opening up that side. Breathing into your rib cage. And then the other side, so just see how each side feels. Try not to just collapse on yourself, like try and be slightly rounded. That side actually feels like it's a different spot. So on my left side, I felt more my shoulder girdle was tight. Here I feel more kind of my QL, the bottom of your spine. So go back again and just breathe. So here it feels tight for me, so I'm going to really focus my breath in there. And then the other side is more kind of in my lower back, so I'm going to breathe into there. Awesome. And then let's come back to our backs for a moment. So before we go to our backs, let's just sit at the edge of the mat. And let's just see how a roll down feels. You could do this with the band if you like. I might do the band today. If you don't have the band, just holding the back of the legs and just start to go into a little half roll back. And if you can actually see yourself in the mirror, it's quite helpful because what we tend to do is kind of push into that area. You see I'm kind of flexing my upper back. What I want to feel instead is that the pelvis rolls back. Okay, so you can see the curve is actually more low down rather than there. Okay, and then come back up. So if you're holding behind your legs, just try and feel that rocking of the pelvis. And I'm kind of opening up the front of the hips as if I'm kind of doing that with my jaw. So, remember we used to do that little tongue action when we came into flexion. So just letting the mouth kind of open. And then the hips, for me, feel like they release. Now, if you can go all the way down, obviously you'll let go of the hands as you make your way down. Take a little breath in and exhale if you've got the band to come back up. I'll show you the no band option. So we go here, roll back the pelvis, release the hands. You can maybe even have one leg and use the leg to come back up, or you could use both legs and go into an assisted roll up, and then use the legs. All of this I'm really trying not to muscle. I know that's easier said than done, but we actually don't need, if I tense my abdominals, look what my spine does. So I actually grip, I can muscle it down. But actually if I let go, can you see my spine elongates a little bit more? And then on the way back up, I want to kind of allow the back body to open and the front body to stay so that the hips don't grip. I know it's easier said than done. If you want to just go into a little half roll back, that feels good. Just choose your adventure. Just play a little bit. Yeah, having one leg in the air, going down. One leg in the air, going up. That feels nice. Okay, holding the leg in the air. Just kind of, really be instinctive. What's going to allow you to roll? Maybe you have your legs like out here, like a big wide position. That actually rolls my pelvis a little bit easier. Let's just go for a little kind of momentum. A little rolling like a ball. Be a kid for a moment. Yeah, just let it go. Hold here, wherever you feel. Yeah, if you're really clunking and it's not very smooth, then go back to the one we just did. Just do 2 and 1 and come all the way back. Now I'm feeling today, because my upper back is quite tight, to come into kind of our flexion patterns, I'm probably going to want the roller or the ball. So choose your weapon of choice. I don't like to say weapon. Your tool of assistance, okay? And we're just going to go into our little single leg stretch. So we're going to come up into tabletop. Now, I've got to get the right position here that actually it feels fairly easy to stay here. So I'm using the roller to kind of keep my upper back in position, okay? So I'm not really labored here. I'm holding my legs quite a lot to kind of keep me up there, but I shouldn't feel like I'm having to recruit a lot. As soon as I hold my legs, my tummy can let go a little bit. So single leg stretch, and I'm guiding this leg in. Inhale, single leg stretch. You can do this on the floor, okay? Head down or head up. So I'll show that option. It's quite nice. I'm really trying to come into hip flexion. Even if you press down the floor, see how that feels versus being in the air. So show the, keep going, the non-roller option. So I'm here, I'm just hugging that leg in. Really feeling like this leg is coming from my abdomen. So I don't want to feel like my leg comes from my hip. I want to feel like it comes from my abdomen. Really enjoying that. I'm never letting the leg feel very disconnected from here. Okay, so it never feels like it's out independent, hanging on the thigh. Okay, so let's add a little rotation. So I want you to reach across to your opposite shin. Reach across to the opposite shin. If you're on the roller, keep going. I'll show you where we are here. So I'm here. Maybe have the hand behind the head. Now, it's interesting when I go across here, it's becoming very hip flexory. So I'm going to lower down and maybe just explore the rotation, okay? Or you might want to come down the floor. So on the floor, I didn't feel as much hip flexor, but up at the top, without being able to hold on to my legs, I felt like it was ripping into my hip. So we just have to play and go, okay, actually, this is playing more with my rotation and feeling quite good. Being on the floor with the legs just going and then working on position, that might feel better for you. So just do a few more. Breathing. And I'm sliding off my roller now. And release. Good. Well done. Okay, guys, let's go a little bit on our fronts. So I want to just work a little bit into our retractors. So we might want to do a little bit of pec work here, okay? Let's see how it goes lying on ball, or if you've got a Franklin ball, or even like the hard toning balls work quite nice on there. So I'm just going to place the ball on the pecs and just have the arm kind of laying down and then turn the head the opposite way. Now you won't be able to hear me. I'll do it this way first. Okay, so I'm just kind of nuzzling in. There we go, got a spot. And the big important thing here when you're lying prone is to breathe into the bowl. Okay, so I'm breathing my rib cage into the ball. Should be above your chest and below your collarbone, okay? So make sure you're not too high or too low, okay? So do one more breath there. Oh, it feels nice now. It's kind of sunk into the ball. Do one more breath.
Okay, so the Franklin ball works quite nice here. Even though it might not feel like a lot while you're on it, it's giving space there. Okay, and then release to the other side. So find that little nook. So I'm really exaggerating my inhale. One more time. Okay, so I'm gonna just get the pelvis in a nice position here, legs nice and parallel, and just have a little wiggle, trying to release the front of the hip and not let my tail kind of fling up into the air. Okay, and we're gonna bring the hands, I'm gonna bring them down by the side actually, we're gonna do a little bit of dart. Okay, so I want your deep belly on, what we've been working on, yeah, that 25% contraction. And then I just want to rotate so the shoulder blades come back a little bit, the upper arm rotates, and if possible, I don't even need my hands to come up actually, because that's working. Now what we've got to be careful of is that the ribs, when you do that, don't push down into the floor, okay? So I want the ribs connected, my deep transverse. I'm going to retract the shoulders a little bit, but without losing core. And rotate the upper arm just a little bit. So I kind of like the shoulders behind, okay? So what I'm doing is if my arms are kind of here, I'm retracting the shoulder blade back, and then I'm rotating the upper arm. Okay, you can see then my arm is kind of behind the hand, and we want to make sure we don't do that because that's hyper retraction, and I'm going to go into a low back. Okay, so we're rounded, we're flopped kind of a little bit through the shoulder, and I want the shoulder blade to come back first, not the arm. I did it wrong. So shoulder blade comes back, then upper arm comes back. So there really needs to be that opening through the chest, but without popping out. Okay, so hopefully you're doing okay with that. So let's do that 2 more times. So retract the shoulder blades together gently without the ribs popping forward. So it's very subtle. Rotate. I'm kind of widening as I rotate. So widen the ribs and retract. If you find that you like to depress your shoulders and push them down, try and let them elevate a little bit. See how that feels. And then release. Okay, let's do 1 more. Retract the shoulder blades. Retract the arm, widen them out. And I can feel my right wants to do it more than my left. And then release. Okay, now bring the hands here for your little swan. Okay, now we're going to tuck the toes under. I'm actually going to do the nicer version first. Okay, tuck the toes under. Press into the knees and lift your hips, tilting the pelvis. Now, this is really good with the ball. Okay, so if you do have a lordosis, you're slightly rounded in the spine, then actually the soft ball or even the Franklin ball might really work well here. Okay, so I'll show this option because it's a little bit better for me. Okay, so tuck the toes, press into the knees, lift the hips up, and come into 12 with your pelvis. So the tail away from the pubic bone. And then lengthen your spine out. So you're kind of trying to get a long line between your back of the pelvis and your head. And then release back down. Breath in, press into the knees, lift your pelvis up, tilt it to 12. So it'll want to kind of do this and fan up into the air. So we're going to scoot, my deep belly is lifted, my ribs are connected, it feels very weird. Working through that upper back. So let me show it without the ball again. Might not look like that much. Okay, press into the knees, my hips go up. I've got space under here. And then I'm going to press just enough into the arms so that I can lengthen out the spine. The shoulders are gently retracted like we did in the dart. Okay, so I want to feel not too depressed with the shoulders. And you do about 3 of those and feel fatigued. So one more, toes tucked under, knees, yeah, so we want to come up with the hips, tilt the pelvis while we're up there, so we've got deep belly here, and then lengthen out, almost like we're in quadruped. Okay, so it's going to be quite a lot of work. And then release. And stretch back. Awesome. How are we doing? Okay, so we're gonna go into a little mermaid side bend position. So if you do have a flex band option, this is quite nice. Try not to have it too tense. And you're just gonna place it underneath your foot. Don't have too much tension here, like that's too much for me. And this is quite a tense band. So I want to be kind of here, where the arm is straight up and I've just got the start of tension. And then we're going to go over to our roller. And I'm going to feel that length. So if you don't have the flex band, kind of imagine that tension. You can see from my band, I'm making a nice straight line from my foot, through my hip, through my waist, through the rib cage. And if the rib cage can go a little bit more, I don't necessarily need my arm to go further. And then I want to lift underneath. And if you want to go the other way. Okay, so I just want you to try and imagine a band here, even if you don't have it. And I think it's a good one to do, because I really feel then I can't collapse into my right side. I'm opening up my left side, and that feels really good on my left hip. I'm kind of anchoring the outside edge of the foot, lifting the deep belly up, so I'm not collapsed, the ribs are in, and then lift all the way back up. That feels really nice. This is the side that I think is going to enjoy it. The other side might not. So open through that hip. You can see that long line. So I want you to imagine you're drawing a line from your foot, through your hip, through to your arm. Make sure there's no tension in the shoulder. Just notice that there. Oh, up we go. And hopefully you can make that smooth without the head going forward. All the way. Ah, beautiful. Okay, let's go the other way. So just get the right anchor point. And if you don't have the band, just have a little check-in with yourself. Okay, especially ribs that want to kind of come flaring out. So I just want to feel where that tension is. Oh, it looks very different on that side. This side doesn't actually need it as much, I feel. So I'm not going to over-emphasize the bend. I might just focus on length because my left side kind of needs it more. So might even enjoy a little bit extra here. So if you find that yourself, that actually the sides don't feel the same, you might even just want to go to here. Yeah, not go over to the full bend, and then come back and enjoy the bend this way. So this is definitely, my hip needs this more than the other side, okay? I think that's 3, I'm not sure. Okay, so go with what you need. If you need more on this side, go for it, enjoy it, feel it, love it. Just watch those of you that don't have the band, that it's not just a drop, okay? That you want to feel like you're lifted through the middle, reaching the energy out the top of the head, and all the way back up, and release that way. Oh. Okay, I'm glad we all have a roller. It's very good. So this one, I don't really have a lot of modifications for this. You could do a little knee hover, actually, that's a lie. So you could just do this in quadruped and lift your knee up, knees up, and then back down, lift the knees up. I'll show that after we show the roller option. So this is kind of like the knee stretches on the reformer. So let's have just a little check-in of our upper body posture. Nice wide hands, arms right below the armpits, nice broad shoulders. We don't want to be pinching back the shoulder blades, but equally so I don't want to be hunched and tense. So that nice happy middle between the front elastic and the back elastic of your shoulders. Okay, so I kind of want to be in the sling. I always kind of feel like if I have a band across here, and I have a band across here, I want to be in the middle of those 2 bands, okay? So feel like you're kind of sinking into the elastic between the front and the back of the body. Hopefully that will help. Okay. And I'm going to bring that roller so my shins are on. I know that might be quite painful, so deep belly on, so I'm not hanging. Then I'm going to drag the roller in. Inhale back out. Drag the roller in. Keep length. Deep belly on. You can see my lower back is wanting to sink in. It's wanting to do that. So I'm really having to keep a little bit of 12. Let's do 2 more if we can. Rest anytime. Nice getting a nice little shin release as well. And then release. Take a little moment, shake out your wrist. I'll show you the option without the roller. And even if you felt the shins were just not liking it today, then you can do this option. Okay, so toes tucked under. So get back on your roller if you are using the roller. Take a breath in. Bring the roller in or hover the legs off. Inhale, send the roller away. Exhale, bring the roller in, hover the knees off. Deep belly. Okay, so every time you're pulling that roller in, you want those deep abdominals to be working. Okay, so I want to feel like my belly retracts back up into my spine, so do the ribs. 1 more. And release. Lovely. I just want to finish with a little side to side, little rotation, and I just want to check in our alignment on the wall before we go. So take your head block that you need, and you can decide here whether you want the feet together, knees together, arms nice down. I like palms down. I find palms up tends to lift our ribs. So just kind of comfy, and also that they don't need to be up here. Can you see the ribs lift? So I kind of put my arms where my back ribs are really settled on the mat. Okay, so you can do side to side here with the feet down. Nice little rotation. My right shoulder's coming off the mat as I go there. I'm feeling that this side I'm not going to like. So now my left shoulder, I'm not forcing it, but I'm just letting it come off naturally. Okay, and if you feel sometimes like a little winding leg, yeah, so I've got like one leg dropping and then the other, and then this leg leads, so my left leg is coming up and my right leg is following. You see how they're kind of staggered? That feels quite nice for me today. It's giving me like a nice little hip stretch. So I'm kind of in the middle with my legs apart. Okay, and equally so, if you feel, I can't go all the way down with my legs together, but if you feel the legs together, connecting your inner thighs, you might not go as far, feels better. So just kind of feel what feels good for you to finish off. So my instinct is my little split position. Okay, but you might find tabletop, it's just not feeling that good for you today, and being on the floor and just allowing your spine to unwind feels really good. You might even want your arms up and just to feel how that feels. Swaying the arms in opposition. Kind of let yourself play with this right now. And then just have a nice little wriggle out, little jello shake. And then make your way up to standing. And let's just check in with the wall. And just for my own purpose, I want to see if I can feel a little bit more elongated. Okay, so we're going to bring the sacrum into the mat and then come all the way up through the lower back and then widen through the upper back and lengthen through the head. That's so much easier now. I can feel my shoulder blades are quite flat. I feel like my low back is on the wall. My shoulder blades feel so much better. Awesome. So hopefully you felt good as well. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll come talk to you guys in a second.